This is the 2026 Acer Nitro V16S AI Plus. Minus the name, this is a pretty promising machine and should pack quite a bit of power in this thin body. But is it worth it? Let's find out. And please like and subscribe if you like these type of videos. From the outside, the Nitro 16S, yes, that's what I'm calling it, is a pretty sleek looking machine. It has a fully black body with only this holographic logo on the back, which I do think looks cool. It has a metal top and bottom, which should protect well against accidental damage, but the inside is made of plastic, so it flexes a little more if you push on it. The main selling point of this laptop is its relative thinness though. It's not an ultrabook, but it's definitely on the thin side. And while it isn't exactly lightweight or one-handable, it is lighter than your average gaming laptop. And a gaming laptop it is. With a new-ish AMD processor and an RTX 5060, it should be able to handle even the newest games. I say should though, because that 5060 does have a lower power limit than normal. How much that'll impact gaming performance, we'll have to see. The Nitro 16S also comes with a newer 300 series processor and an RTX 5070, although the wattage isn't any higher there either. It does have one of the best port selections I've ever seen on a laptop. I mean, it has everything from HDMI to Ethernet and even a micro SD card slot. I don't particularly like that the only USB-C port is on the back, but it does have 3 USB-A ports, which is pretty awesome. It comes with this pretty small and light power brick, which is only 135 watts. And this low wattage will cause some issues later on. It does also support USB-C charging though, up to 100 watts, which is always handy. Now let's look at its keyboard. It has a 4-zone RGB backlight, so you can customize it with some pretty effects, like the wave. And here's what the keys sound like. It is pretty mushy. The actuation point isn't super clear and the keys have quite some play in them, which doesn't feel great. It does have a numpad though and full-size arrow keys, which is very nice. Moving down, we have its trackpad. And I myself don't really like it when a trackpad is off-center to the left. I know some people do like this, but I keep accidentally touching it while gaming. It's made of plastic and it feels pretty shit. It's hard to press down basically anywhere, it has very mushy clicks, and it rattles. Overall, it feels like you're popping bubbles under a wet napkin. Most people use a mouse on laptops anyways, but it's pretty bad. Moving up, we have its display. And this is actually a really nice panel for the price. It is an IPS display, so colors look pretty nice and the backlight bleeding isn't too bad on this panel, but it's not an OLED. That 180Hz refresh rate is awesome though. Even for the most competitive games, it will be smooth. Its resolution is also really high for 16 inches, so you're never really gonna see any pixels. But it doesn't get super bright. 400 nits is enough for most people, but I wish it were a little higher. It does have a matte display layer though, so you're not constantly gonna be looking at yourself like on some other laptops. Matte coatings do have a lot of glare though, but I guess it's better than no coating at all. Its display doesn't open up all the way, but it goes quite far, and its hinge is actually pretty sturdy. It doesn't wobble much when you tap it or when you set it down, and you can easily open it up with one hand, so overall, it's great. But what about its speakers? Because around the price range of this laptops, manufacturers usually really cheap out in this area. So how does the 16S do? Well, it's actually not that bad. You do need to tweak some settings to make it sound good though. I have it set to custom in the NitroSense app, and in a separate app called DTS, you need to put it on custom as well and boost the hell out of its bass. And that makes it sound a lot better. It does only have bottom firing speakers, so it definitely sounds muffled, and at higher volumes, sound gets a bit distorted. But it has an okay amount of bass and sounds pretty balanced in most cases. So for music or games, it'll sound above average. The webcam is pretty low quality, and it makes it look like I'm straight out of Agartha, but it's good enough for basic use. The microphone is really bad though. It sounds like I'm farting in a bathtub. But let's get to the real important stuff, performance. It doesn't have the highest power limits, but it does still have an RTX 5060, so how fast is it? Well, in Cinebench R23, that Ryzen 7 260 performs like a Ryzen 7 260. About on par with other laptops with the same CPU. This is essentially a 3-year-old chip, but for gaming or productivity, it should still be pretty great. But in 3D Mark TimeSpy, we do see that lower GPU wattage affects its score quite a bit. It's not severely underpowered, but it does make it perform worse. But we won't get to see whether that actually affects performance until we use both the CPU and GPU at the same time, since they need to share that power. And this is a gaming laptop after all, so let's see how it performs in some actual games. So as you saw, it plays games just fine. It ran every game at more than playable frame rates with minimal FPS drops. But you can definitely notice that something's wrong when you turn down the resolution to 1200p. While it's logical that you get more FPS at a lower resolution, this difference is bigger than normal. But my main concern was that 5060. Is it getting enough power? Well, not really. It does reach its power limit excluding its dynamic boost, but 75 watts for a 5060 is pretty low. And with only a 135 watt power envelope, it's stealing a lot of power away from its CPU, which is exactly why you get a lot more performance at its lower resolution. So while you can play games just perfectly fine on this thing, compared to other laptops with a 5060, it'll perform worse. And while talking about power, this laptop has some pretty serious issues. That 135 watt power brick is not enough to power this thing. While playing heavy games like Cyberpunk, the battery will actively drain while plugged into the charger. So if you're playing a game, you can only really do that for about 2 or 3 hours. You can buy a higher wattage charger for this laptop from Acer, and that will fix the issue. But the fact that they didn't just include that charger with this guy in the box is pretty bad. Now, this is a thinner laptop, and less internal space means less space for cooling. So does it run hot? Well, no. The CPU stays very comfortable, more than 10 degrees below its thermal limit. And while the GPU does sit closer to its limit, it never reached it, so it won't overheat or throttle itself. Now, that's not extremely hard to do when you're capping your GPU to only 75 watts, but lower temperatures are always nice to see. But what about fan noise? Well, it's about as loud as your average gaming laptop. In lighter normal use though, the fans mostly stay off. So most of the time, it'll stay silent. But what about battery life? It does have an older processor, and usually gaming laptops don't last that long. Well, I tested its battery life in two different scenarios, under light use and during gaming. In the light use test, I played a YouTube video until its battery died, with its display at 80% brightness, at 60 Hz, and with the keyboard backlight turned off. And it did last over 8 hours. Now, that doesn't even come close to some newer thin and light laptops, but 8 hours is really nice for a gaming laptop. In actual real-world use, that number is likely going to be closer to like 5 hours, so you might survive a school day, but I would recommend bringing your charger with you. In the gaming test, I played Minecraft until its battery died, with the same settings as before. And here, it didn't really do that well. The Ryzen 7 260 is not a very efficient chip, so in heavier tasks, it's not going to last that long. Now, while this is a thinner laptop, it's not the thinnest. So did they leave any internal space for upgradeability? Well, yes, absolutely. It has 2 SODIMM slots, so it has fully upgradable RAM. It has 2 M.2 SSD slots, so storage upgrades are very easy. And it even has a Wi-Fi card slot, so you're not stuck with Wi-Fi 6E. And I definitely would recommend upgrading that Wi-Fi card. Because this laptop has had by far the worst internet connection I've ever had in my office. I mean, I had to physically move it next to my router to do any downloading, which really sucked. But what doesn't suck is its pricing. If you buy it new, this is one of the cheapest RTX 5060 laptops that you can currently buy in Europe. In the US, it's definitely a little pricier, but still around the price of other similar laptops. There is a 5050 version too, but I would recommend just paying a little more for a 5060. And apparently, there's even a 5070 Ti model in the States, and that one should have way higher power limits, but at like double the price. I'll post links for all of these options in the description down below for if you're interested. Okay, let's get to a conclusion here. Is the Acer Nitro V16S AI plus AI something worth it? Well, no, I don't think so. This was almost a good laptop. It is one of the most upgradable machines that you can buy, which is awesome. It also performs decently in games, but it has that very wattage limited 5060, which makes it slower than the competition. But it has a really good display. I mean, 180 Hz is nice for gaming. And it's also a lot less thick than your average gaming laptop. But its keyboard and trackpad are lacking, and the fact that it drains battery while playing games and with it being plugged in is a massive issue in my opinion. Yes, you can fix that by just buying a higher wattage power brick, but that just doesn't sit right with me. If they had fixed that issue out of the box, and if they just gave that 5060 a little more power, this might have been one of the best budget options at its price. But its competition is the Asus TUF A16, and it is a very similar price, it performs better because of its higher power limits, and it won't drain your battery while plugged in. So I would recommend just getting that one. And that's about it for today. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.
What? Oh!